How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back to another edition of CTV Sports, this time on Thursday night. As always, I'm Madeline Davis.
And of course, I'm Leah Cackowski. And wow, do we have some content for you. So let's get right into it. Here's what we got on tap for you tonight.
The men's basketball team concluded their postseason run, and we'll hear from Leah about her experience in Charlotte.
We have a few special features tonight, one being from a CSU legend and one from the LSC front lawn.
Meanwhile, some of the other CSU sports were also in session. Here's some reports from across Ram country.
All of that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now. Colorado State men's basketball got a ticket to the dance for the second time in the last 3 years, and I got a chance to travel across the country to experience the madness. The best way to sum up this year's tourney experience is a whirlwind. The madness all started with the unexpected first four play-in announcement at Selection Sunday, and from there, it was to scramble, pack, and prep for the Tuesday match against Virginia. Nonetheless, the green and gold absolutely dominated in Dayton, putting up a solid 25 points against the Cavaliers. That's one way to secure just the fifth tourney win in school history. After that, it was on the road again. The team took the red-eye flight to land in Charlotte, North Carolina for the first round game against number 7 Texas that everyone expected from the start. Thursday's festivities began at the Ram Rally, where parents, fans, and alumni came together to show CSU spirit. Performances by the Colorado State cheer team and marching band got the crowd hyped and ready before tip-off. Statements by CSU President Amy Parsons and Athletic Director Interim John Weber were made as well, and I got a chance to talk to some parents of players to see their emotions heading into it.
I'm Michelle Palmer, Mama Palmer, Joe's mom.
And Brad Palmer, Joe's dad.
The emotions right now as parents. What's going through your head? Can I be honest? I feel like I'm going to throw up a little bit. I'm so excited. I bit my nails off, but go ahead, Ben, Joe. I love you.
So I'm AJ Scott, Joe Scott's dad.
Awesome. And this is a really big moment. March Madness means so much. Obviously, you and your wife as former athletes and all the rest of your sons, how does this one just even be more special for you all as a family?
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, about the fact that not too many kids get to play in March Madness, and this is a special experience for him, special for us too. Again, not too many parents with kids get to experience this with their sons or daughters.
All right, here with Kyle, Evan's mom, just what has this journey and experience been like for you being at March Madness?
Oh my God, once in a lifetime. I'm so excited for the team and for Kyle. I wouldn't have missed it for a minute.
And finally, it was time for the big dance. The Spectrum Center was packed with fans from all over the country, and a large sea of green and gold filled the stands. It was go time. Here are the best moments from the night. How's it going, Ram fans? Colorado State men's basketball just finished play against Texas, and unfortunately they did not come away with the win this time, losing with a final score of 56-44. The first half was just a really slow start, only scoring 11 points, and nothing really went from there. They had a total of 19 turnovers, and that was the real X factor of not succeeding in this game. However, great season nonetheless. Isaiah Stevens, one of the best players to ever do it, and honestly, I'm proud to be a CSU Ram, and thanks for coming along this journey. The season may have come to a close in a disheartening loss, but regardless, there was so much this team accomplished throughout the year.
Yeah, Leah, there's a lot to be said about this group, and the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, if we take a look here, just the stats, I mean, look at their field goal percentage. That's what really stands out to me.
I absolutely agree. And it kind of seems like another thing that stands out, in my opinion, is like we struggled kind of from the free throw line. But at the same time, if you look like at an entire season, it wasn't as bad as some games may it seem.
Yes, and it was just a little unfortunate that teams, they figured out who our good free throw shooters were.
Right.
And so, Joel Scott was going to get a lot more fouls against him than Isaiah Stevens.
Absolutely. And again, kind of like a more rough stretch with a three-point line as well towards the end of the season, but still holding their own at 33% overall. That still beats out their opponents at 32%. So looking at the stats overall, they bested their opponents in every single category, and that speaks for themselves, just having the successful season that they did.
Yeah, overall, CSU, it was all about offense.
And I know there are some players that we got to talk about too, because yes, they did consistently well just throughout the entire year, but there are 3 Rams, in my opinion, that stick out more than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that these are the 3 that stick out. I mean, here you got Isaiah Stevens, you got Nick Clifford, and you got Joel Scott. What do you see here?
What I see here is that this is what they built this team around this year, and it worked exactly how they wanted it to. 2 huge transfers from the Springs. Nick Clifford not utilized whatsoever at Boulder. No. Joel Scott, he was the guy at D2, and they're like, we're going to bring him up. He is ready. He can absolutely compete at this kind of level. And then Isaiah Stevens, too, at the same time, like, we know what he was capable of. Like, the way that he was able to, like, bring them in so seamlessly into this kind of team and atmosphere, that said it all to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very obvious that this entire team was built around Isaiah Stevens, and Nico Medved just did an incredible job at recruiting people and just looking in the transfer portal. I mean, I'm very thankful for Chandler Jacobs and the door that opened up for D2 transfers like Joel Scott, like
100%.
Patrick Cartier. I mean, even reaching into D3 with Joe Palmer.
Well, yeah, and the fact that they both were shooting over 50% from the field goal line, like, and the amount of different kind of plays they were able to make, like, Nick Clifford's staple dunk, like that's what he did. Joel Scott, his and one, like that, they did their job in the roles they did. Yeah, maybe were they not necessarily 3-point shooters, but like we needed paint presence.
I was going to say you don't need the 3.
Yeah, I mean, in college, in the NBA, more so now, but I feel like their job, what they needed to do, was to be in the paint. And it kind of makes me sad, though, because,
it's
what happens with this.
It's no secret that all 3 of them are seniors. Obviously, Joel and Zay, they're out of time.
Right.
Niki's going to put his name in the draft. We'll see what happens
there.
I
mean, there hasn't really been any confirming of what his decision is going to be. He does have another year of eligibility, but there's obviously still who, Nico Medved could potentially go somewhere. Yeah. We haven't had any confirmation about who could be a head coach, if his contract, if he's going to stick with it. So there's a lot that could change next year, which is scary, but also kind of exciting.
I know, yeah. And especially with the transfer portal, like, you never know when you're going to be good.
You never know. And
can't count anyone out.
We got some of the 2 best transfers, arguably, in the Mountain West this season from that. So it's like, hey, we didn't know what we were going to get into last year, and it could be the same for next. So, that makes me positive.
100%.
But, and now to officially end the topic of basketball, we are going to take a short break, but don't worry, we have so much more sporting news to come, so don't go anywhere.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored?
Yeah, we scored going to the playoffs.
I can't believe I missed that.
Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
What? I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
I'm gonna need that back.
No.
Kevin!
Welcome back from the break, Rams. And while the indoor track and field championship season did just come to a close, there's no need to worry because the outdoor team made its debut over the weekend at the Trojan Invitational, and one Ram stood out from the rest. Michaela Hawkins claimed first place in the women's discus throw at a solid 61.02 meter mark. This is significant because it's now the second best in school history, as well as the top score so far the NCAA has this season. At this rate, she would hit the Olympic trials qualifier mark, so congrats, Michaela. The Rams get to come back home this weekend to dominate in the Jack Christensen Invitational right here in Fort Collins.
Out in California this weekend for a 3-game series with the San Diego State Aztecs starting tonight. Before we get into the game, let's take a look at how both of these teams match up. First, let's start with the Rams. CSU is currently sitting at 18-12 overall and 1-4 in conference play. The Rams are coming off a rough weekend at home that saw them get swept by Nevada. Key players for the Rams include pitcher utility player Nelly Cerna and shortstop Maya Matsubara. Cerna is leading the team in ERA at 3.02 with a 6-4 record on the season. She has racked up 43 Ks, which leads the Rams and is 11th overall in conference, as well as managing to keep batters below a 300 average. Moving on to Matsubara, she is leading the team in batting average at 382 with a whopping 500 on base percentage, which is 4th in the league. Expect both of these players to do some damage both in the circle and at the plate. Moving on to SDSU, the Aztecs are sitting at 17-13 overall with a 4-2 conference record. Two players to keep your eye out for on SDSU are pitcher Didi Hernandez and utility player Mac Barbara. Hernandez is posting a 1.80 ERA, which is 2nd in the league, and a 6-2 record. The stat that really stands out, though, is only 8 walks allowed on the season. CSU will have to be really patient at the plate if they want any free passes against Hernandez. Moving on to Barbara, she is leading the team in both slugging and OPS. Barbara has been a thorn in Mountain West team sides for a while now, as she is known for her power. They don't call her Tank for nothing. This girl hits bombs. In fact, she has 6 on the season, leading the Aztecs. What may be even more impressive than her power, though, is the fact that she has the 2nd highest OBP on the team. Having both power and a good eye makes her a serious threat at the plate. The key for the Rams here will be getting her to chase. The first game of the series started just a bit ago, so let's take a look at how it's going. CSU did finish game 1. They had to have a schedule update with a doubleheader today. Unfortunately, they did lose the first game 3-1. Ashley York went 2 for 3, and Hornbuckle threw 99 pitches and gave up 5 hits. But now let's go to another women's sport. Leah, how did golf do?
Well, Madeline, the CSU women's golf team made history over the weekend at the Fresno State Classic. For the first time ever, the Rams have claimed their 3rd team title in a single season. And for the 2nd time in history, golfer none other than Andrea Bergstadter has won an event twice in a season as well. Our Monkel tied 8th respectively as well. The men's team also competed last weekend in the Duck Invitational, placing 4th and 5th overall. The women's team have this weekend to rest up before heading to Tennessee for the Chattanooga Classic, while the men have to wait even longer to compete in the Robert Kepler Invitational starting April 19th.
Tennis was back home this past weekend for 2 Mountain West dual matches against the Utah State Aggies and the Boise State Broncos. It was quite the successful weekend for the Rams with a clean sweep over both opponents. This was refreshing to see after the Rams' last outing down in New Mexico did not go their way. CSU will get another road opportunity this weekend when they travel out west to take on the Nevada Wolfpack and the Pacific Tigers.
Rolling right along, I am Mike Walsh, here to send it over to our feature reporter, Nick Ortiz, who got an in-depth look at one of the cooler events on campus this spring. Nick?
With near 70-degree weather warming up campus last week, the last thing anyone expected to see was snow slopes outside the LSC. But CSU snow riders had other ideas.
Well, my name's Aurora. I've worked with the snow riders for like 2.5 years now. It's been one of the best things that I've done on campus. Rail Jam was awesome. Nobody on the board for a while has gotten to experience Rail Jam, and it was just a great opportunity for us to get kind of like the CSU community together. The whole purpose of Rail Jam was to bring that like skiing and snowboard culture onto campus and let people kind of experience a little bit of that, show people kind of what the Snow Riders is all about. We took every route that we could in our partnership with ASCSU to make sure that like cleanup was handled. We stay here for hours after, we set up for hours before. When you bring like 2,000 kids into one spot, it can be kind of chaotic.
While the event paid off after being absent from campus for more than a decade, preparing the afternoon wasn't exactly a green run.
I joined the Snow Riders team as an intern in late September, October time period, and the actual officers of the time had been preparing for the event for
I believe since September or August. So they've been on this for the longest time, reaching out to all sorts of different sponsors in the local area of Fort Collins, as well as Shots in the Dark to Red Bull and Banana Blades and a lot of other really cool sponsors that were able to be a part of the event.
Oh my gosh, up until like literally the day before, like we were just planning. We brought in a company, Snow Bros, to bring in all that snow.
They came in and they crushed, I believe it was like 15 tons of ice.
And of course, right, it's on this day where it was 70 degrees out. And we're like, the snow is gonna melt. So we just sent it. So a lot of behind the scenes work went on, but that's what we're here for.
I think there definitely was some obstacles we had to go over, but overall it went over really smoothly, and I'm really looking forward to having it for another year.
And as the sun set on the slopes, many Rams were left wondering how long the wait would be till the next Rail Jam came to campus.
I really hope it does happen again next year. I think that a lot of the groundwork was laid out by us. Like, I think we did a lot of the groundwork that, like, now we have all of these contacts and people we can reach out to again who saw the success and saw that it can only go uphill from there. And I just think the more people that show up, the better. I mean, that was the point. It's just community and bringing a bunch of skiers and snowboarders together. I think it would be funny if all of us officers came back and decided to hit the rails, but we'll see.
Thanks for that, Nick. I think most CSU students would probably agree with bringing that event back. What's better than shredding on campus? But now, Rams, we are going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, though, as we have a special interview with a legendary CSU alum coming up.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, into another edition of CAC's Closeout. Colorado State 2004 graduate Jenny Cavnar is no stranger when it comes to rewriting the history books. Ever since the fountains lit up at Coors Field back in 2018, to now being named the first female primary play-by-play announcer for the Oakland A's.
And that ball is shot into left field. Fire up the fountains. She's gone.
The call heard round the world. And for the first time in 25 years, a female voice was behind the call.
It's so special because I don't think it's a job that was ever on my career path. It was never on my vision board, if you will. And here we are.
Cavnar's new chapter officially starts today when she calls the A's opening day series against the Cleveland Guardians, and as the first female to sit in a primary play-by-play spot. She's ready to continue what she's been doing for many years, but paving the way hasn't always been easy.
I don't think I could have maintained or had this job or even been maybe in sports media nowadays with social media had that been around when I began in my 20s. That would have been probably really hard for me. And so I've learned to have some thick skin. I've learned who I can trust. I've learned who's going to tell me the truth. And that truth isn't always good. That truth is making you better. And so keeping those people close to me and my circle and valuing that opinion more than the opinion of people I don't know, I think is one way to keep you grounded.
According to Statista, only 30% of MLB employers are female, while Zippa states that only 9% of sports announcers in the U.S. are female, while 91% are male. And what better timing for the game to be changing during Women's History Month?
I think what's most important to me is it took so many women and so many women's efforts to get to this place, and I feel very blessed and lucky to be the one that holds the keys to that right now. But it's not going to be for long that it's the only, it's just going to be a matter of time. The door's getting pushed open a little bit more. The opportunities are greater and grander for your generation coming into sports broadcasting soon when you guys graduate, and for the generation after you, it's exciting to know the future's bright.
Before Cavnar's historic hire with the Oakland A's, she spent the last 12 years with her hometown team, the Colorado Rockies.
I'm a fifth generation Colorado native, and so there's so much pride for us being from Colorado and having our family rooted here, going to Colorado State, getting the opportunity to start a career in baseball was with the San Diego Padres, and that's where I met my husband, but it eventually took us right back to Colorado and being with the Rockies for the last 12 years. So getting to cover the hometown team, the team I grew up rooting for, there was nothing like it. It was a special 12 years that I'm so grateful for.
Along with working for the Rockies, Cavnar's Colorado roots are even deeper, as she got her broadcasting start right here at CTV.
I had this idea in my head for a long time that I want to be a sports reporter. And it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to do it. And I think that was my meeting with Dave, is he's like, well, okay, then show up and do it.
I'm Jenny Cavnar, and for the next half hour, I'll take you through the highs and lows of the past season as CTV Sports presents the 2003 Season in Review.
Now it's a full circle moment for the groundbreaker, who'll be back making history in the colors that launched her career.
Also, I can only wear green and gold now, like straight through, like seam line, straight through.
So true.
So it works out.
Back
it works
into green
out.
and gold. It's like full circle moment. That's so
It
true.
is.
While Cavnar may have taken an exciting new job in the big leagues, another new role lies right here on campus as one of the most significant CSU alumni.
I started talking with Amy a lot last summer about, what could I do at the university? How could I get more involved? And she created the President's Executive in Residence, and I'm so honored to be the first. And I know that there's going to be some great names lined up with some amazing career stories that are going to come back on campus and really influence the kids going to college right now and their pursuits and their careers and passions. But to kind of be the guinea pig of it and work with her and just get back on campus. There's a feeling when you're here that, yes, part of it's nostalgia, but part of it is excitement because you're seeing the change and the changes that are currently being done on campus, the physical changes, but you're also seeing changes within the student body. And so I've enjoyed my time that I've gotten to talk with you guys at CTV and, just answer questions or have shadow days, things like that. And just to transition that into a bigger role is really fun.
It can be easy to forget to pause and take it all in with such a remarkable career. And Jenny would tell her younger self just to enjoy it.
I would just say it's going to be awesome. Like, dive in, meet all the people, do all the things. And I think that's what I ended up doing in college. But I think it would just be like, this isn't in vain. Like, what you're doing is with a purpose, and there's going to be a greater purpose on the other side. And even though you don't know about it, like, enjoy your time. So it's so easy to let it fly by, right? We do that in life so often. And so you're going to make me cry. That's very emotional to think about that, like thinking back to your younger self. But yeah, just keep at it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
It was such an honor to sit down with someone who made me want to get into broadcasting in the first place. I can't wait for this year's baseball season. And speaking of baseball, Mike, let's get this opening day special started.
No problem. Yeah. I'd be honored to moderate this discussion between, two of you baseball gurus. So first, we're going to go ahead and talk about what you guys think will be kind of the dominant players in the regular season. So Madeline, let's start with you and your MVP, starting with the AL.
Yeah, so I am choosing a new face to the American League. Okay. I'm saying Juan Soto. Okay. He's with the Yankees this year. They have a very, very hitter-friendly ballpark. He never really did too much with the Padres. I think he's really gonna pop off this year. And with Shohei not being in the league anymore, I think they're gonna want to give it back to a Yankee.
Okay.
Leah, what do you think?
I love your pick. I love it. If you can't tell, I'm a pretty big Yankee fan over here. He did great today. Juan Soto had an amazing play, won the game for him basically. But I actually am picking for American League. I'm going to go with Judge again. I think I agree. Soto's definitely a candidate, but Judge just being the captain, it's his year. If they don't do well this year, it's a total disaster of an entire everything they've been building the last few years.
Yeah.
I got to go Aaron Judge. 1-22. I think he can go again.
All right. Okay. I get that. I think it might be one of those two.
Yeah, it very well could be.
But enough about the AL. Let's go to the NL. So, Leah, what are you thinking for the NL MVP?
I think it's going to be back-to-back this season. I'm going to go with Acuna Jr. He had 40 home runs, 108 RBIs, and 73 stolen bases. Braves staple, obviously runs in the family. I think he's just so dominant, and while I don't know if they'll make it as a necessarily huge playoff contender, right. I think him as a player, he's a staple for me for the National League.
Madeline?
There is no denying that Ronald Acuna Jr. is very, very good. I mean, just the Braves in general. I also think Matt Olson could potentially take it. But I am going to go with an NL West player. I'm going with Mookie Betts.
Ooh, I like that.
It's going to be interesting to see. Currently, he's playing at shortstop, which is a little weird. I mean, typically he's been in the outfield. But he's just so good. If Shohei was pitching, it would be Shohei, no doubt. But he can only hit. Mookie Betts hasn't won it in the NL yet, and he's been up for it. So
he was right there last year.
Oh, he was.
Right there.
It was and Freddie Freeman.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be a Brave or it's going to be a Dodger.
I agree with you full-heartedly with that.
Yeah,
yes,
we can say that.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But, that's enough about the players. Let's get to the teams now. So I think AL, NL. I think we'll start with the AL here. Madeline, who do you got coming out of the AL?
For the AL, I have the Baltimore Orioles
All right.
going all the way.
You like them.
I do like the Baltimore Orioles. I think they have a really fun young team. It's really fun to see how terrible they were just a couple of years ago. Like, world's worst baseball team you've ever seen. And now they're projected to be the best team in the American League. And honestly, I see them going all the way. I like them.
Well, the season that they had last year, especially like with what they came from, like you said, like on the map, I can agree with you, but
3 seasons ago they had over 100 losses.
And then they had over 100 wins last year?
They didn't have 100, but
they were near close though.
They were in the 90s.
Yeah,
they were in the 90s. They were in the 90s. Adley Rutschman has absolutely saved them.
No, I agree with you. Well, and especially since you're such a National League person, I love seeing you root for the Orioles too. It's like I love the Brewers, right? It's just like one of those random things.
All right,
but
what do you
for
got?
me, I gotta go with the New York Yankees. I'm gonna go pick. It's their year. If it's not their year, I mean, they're in the playoffs for me, but I am picking the Orioles as number one. But the Yankees are making the playoffs in my brain. They did not make the playoffs last year. I don't think they're gonna be top spot. I'm agreeing with you on the Orioles right there. So American League is up for grabs.
I'd say there's some solid bets. I mean, those guys are favored, on all the betting sites. So I mean, clearly you're in the right area. But let's go over to the NL playoffs. Leah, let's start with you. What do you think for the NL?
I mean, in my brain, I think it's pretty no doubt. I have the Dodgers in the number 1 seed. I just really...
It's a pay-to-play league.
I'm sorry. I think they're such a great contender, and with their stacked roster that they have this season, to me, it's no doubt in my brain that they're going to make it.
Madeline?
Yeah, I think your World Series matchup sounds like a nightmare to me. I personally don't really want to see either of those teams, but I have the Dodgers. I have the Dodgers in the World Series. They have unlimited money, truly unlimited. Like, they have $700 million to pay Shohei Ohtani. Right. They have $180 million to pay Will Smith yesterday. What was that about? It's between the Braves and the Dodgers, and I think that the Dodgers, they want it. They want it. They have not really been able to win. They're classic playoff chokers.
They also paid more for it.
They do, but I think it's finally their time, and I want it to be their time so people will shut up about it.
All right. That's enough about both sides. Who do you guys have taking it all?
Well, I already said my answer. I got a little too overconfident. I was like, I was saying Yankees all the way, Orioles number. That's my own.
I'm saying Dodgers all the way.
Okay.
I think the Yankees-Dodgers matchup has been what fans have wanted, honestly, for a long time. They've been predicted since, honestly, like since 2017. You can go back. Like, I think that it could be a very good matchup in a World Series. People will tune in and watch.
Yeah.
So, but the Yankees are going to win. It's their year. It has to be.
I mean, these are the top teams. So you can't go wrong. You guys are at least going to get someone in the top 8 out of both these sides. But let's go to some dark horses here that you guys think could maybe take it up.
Madeline, who's yours?
Honestly, I'm going with the Mariners.
Okay.
They have never won the World Series. They have a really good young team. They're exciting to watch. They got a shot.
Leah?
My Cubbies. I don't know. It's been since 2016. They got Cody Belly. That's all I got to say.
We'll see. That's all the time we got, but we'll see. We'll just have to wait for the season. But, I'm sure we could talk about this for a lot longer. But, make sure to tune in next Tuesday to see another sports show. We're coming right back at you. But we all hope you have a great night, and we will see you then.
Good job.